That is the standoff tonight. It is a big deal no matter what, but it also comes after a weekend where Donald Trump showed his complete lack of support, interest, or even claim for democracy abroad, which is no surprise when you remember that 5 years ago, he was the leader trying to stop democracy right here at home. We have a special guest on this important story right now. Democratic Congresswoman Madeleine Dean served as the January 6th impeachment manager. That was for the second impeachment after the January 6th attack. Thank you for being here. I wonder if first you might share any of your reflections just on hearing and seeing that video again of both the Republicans, your colleagues, but also the president claiming at the time, Donald Trump, that these were heinous acts of violence and people should pay.
Well, I thank you, Ari, for being sure to cover and remember this day. We have to continue to remember this day and call it out for the atrocious insurrection incited by a sitting president that it was. An attack on this citadel, this seat of power that is such an important representation of American strength and democracy and justice. I was here 5 years ago. I was up in the gallery with many other members and actually members of the press as well when all hell broke loose. I was also in the hearing today and very glad to hear the testimony of many folks. I won't spend 1 minute on those who came to commemorate their violent acts who have been pardoned by the President of the United States. I won't spend a minute on them. What I will spend a minute on are the heroes. The police officers, Capitol police officers, municipal police, ultimately the National Guard and others who came to save us, to protect us from a mob that the president invited, he incited, then he sent them to the Capitol, lying to them all along, saying, I'll be there with you. I'll go alongside with you. And of course, he did not. And then when they broke in, using Trump flags, Confederate flags, American flags to beat Capitol police officers and hunt down Speaker Pelosi, his own vice president, what did the president do? He sat for 187 minutes as his team implored him to call off the violence, as his family members implored him. 187 minutes. That is unforgivable. And for him to come in day one of this second term, shame on him. Forgiving, pardoning more than 1,500 people for their crimes against this country. Police officers lost their lives. The president's trying to whitewash history. He can't do it. He can't, by pardoning them, somehow pardon himself. It's a grotesque act by a very small president.
I hear you. When you look at how pressure worked, his concern about the second impeachment, his concern that I mentioned of future legal liability, it did seem to affect him. We hear a lot of, trolling or touting about how, maybe the law doesn't matter. Do you see any lessons there that the Democrats who even had a debate, why bother impeaching someone who's on the way out anyway, et cetera, you remember, that keeping up the pressure for the rule of law does matter, even against people who've proven they don't personally care about it?
I always believed it mattered. It was really probably the solemn, saddest high honor of my service here that Speaker Pelosi asked me to serve alongside Jamie Raskin and 7 others as an impeachment manager on impeachment 2 for this president. We always knew the risk of not being able to get the vote. We had the facts. We had the evidence. It was so clear that this president was guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors under the Constitution. And we focused in on incitement to insurrection. We didn't do a laundry list of all of the crimes of this president. We did one: incitement to insurrection. I remember being in that safe room after we were hauled out in our gas masks and looking up the word insurrection, Ari, because I thought, I've studied about insurrection, but I'm pretty sure I've never been in one. We were literally in an insurrection because of a president who couldn't stand to lose. And I really fault the leaders who originally stood up. Mr. McCarthy stood up, outraged at the behavior of the president, calling him culpable. Mr. McConnell, as we prosecuted the case in the Senate, it was staggering to me to see him stand during the vote and say not guilty. And then within minutes, with a prepared speech, then say the president is responsible. He spoke out of both sides of his mouth. Any one of them could have turned this around, and this president would not have been president again. Shame on them.
You mentioned that day. I think we do have a photo pulled here of you and others in the House gallery with the gas masks and the level of protection and precaution that had to be taken given that attack. I've only got 40 seconds left. What do you say to Americans going forward here?
Never forget. If we allow this president and the Speaker of the House, by the way, he put us in a basement meeting room. He declined 4 different requests for rooms for this hearing today. Never forget. We won't forget. And also, listen to the testimony, and you just featured it, of a woman I only met today, 72-year-old Idaho woman. Her name is Pamela. Oh, I want to get it right. I'm forgetting it, but Miss Pamela from Idaho, and I had the chance to meet her. She was here, and she was pardoned by the president. She was convicted. She was sentenced to 60 days. She was offered a pardon by the president, and you know what she did? She declined it. What amazing woman of humility and courage to publicly say, I was wrong. I was guilty of this crime. I will not accept the pardon. And she sat there and apologized to all Capitol Police officers. And she said she won't rest until the plaque is up and the Capitol Police officers get their due. So to America, the fabric of America is very strong. And these weak courtiers around the president will not succeed, as they are harming many, many Americans right now.
Congresswoman Dean, thank you for everything you've shared with us tonight. We appreciate your time.